Hiya and hello there. Welcome to Tansson TV Plus. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Mom.
Thank you so much for joining us as always.
Yep, thank you for joining with us again.
Yes. And Mom, how is your day going thus far?
Brandon, my day is going fine. How about yours?
All is well here. It's definitely been a fun week, and what's even more fun is doing these discussions.
It is. We're having a lot of fun doing these. Let's say today, Brandon, we're talking about the show Jackée.
So yes, Mom, for this one and done series released on May the 11th of 1989.
Wow. All right, Brandon, I'm going to give you just a brief synopsis. Now, I mean brief. Okay, Sandra Clark, who is basically from the show 227, but Sandra Clark moves to New York City. She gets a job as an assistant manager of a salon.
Mom, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome, Brandon.
And overall, what did you think about this series, pilot, episode, whatever you'd like to call it? It's all the same thing here.
I just thought it was okay. It was not the best thing out there. It's not the worst thing out there. It was just okay.
And I will say, too, that we had a lot of discussion offline about this and what our thoughts were and trying to make sure we could be very objective with this, but also realizing that there's probably also a reason that this series had one episode and that was it.
Yes, and you asked me whether or not I'd watch this again if the series had moved on. And my thought was, if it was on the TV, yes, I would probably watch it because it was an NBC show, and I would assume that it would probably follow something that would have been really strong. In which case, yes, I probably would have sat still and continued to watch it. However, I would not have looked for the show, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And before we dive into the what we liked and what we didn't like, I will give a little bit of background for this episode.
All right, go ahead, Brandon.
So, in the series 227, of course, the character Sandra Clark was one of the few main characters of the series and was oftentimes the foil for the main character of Mary Jenkins. All that to say, though, is by the end of this fourth season, 227, they decide she should have her own show, and so they made a pilot called Jackée, named for the star Jackée Harry, and the episode had it where, as you mentioned, the character Sandra moves out to New York City to start a new life, and that's the last we see of Sandra as a main character of the series.
Yes. Yep. And for those of you who watch 227 on a regular basis, you probably remember that time period when she did leave the show. She did come back, but you probably remember the time period when she did leave.
But yes, and so, Mom, do you remember this episode, this pilot, so to speak, coming out?
I remember seeing the episode. I do not remember what time period I saw it, but I remember seeing the episode, and that was it, Brandon, because I didn't remember what the episode was about at all.
Yes, and I will say that I remember the pilot being in existence, and I know in later years when I've seen it, they restored the original theme song and outro that was made for the pilot, and even like I guess in present day of us discussing it, it's hard to really say what's I guess more correct to consider the pilot to Jackée or like the 91st episode of 227.
See, I would say it was the pilot of Jackée. I know that they did have one crossover character, but it was truly a pilot. That's my opinion.
And that's my opinion as well. I mean, it had its own theme song and it had its own list of stars, and for all intents and purposes, this episode had no real bearing on 227 of the series other than explaining where Sandra disappeared to.
Yes, and I agree with that completely, Brandon.
But all that to say, though, is what did or didn't work for you in this episode?
I didn't know what the point was. I mean, I think it's wonderful. Sandra got a new job. She's in New York City. That's fine. They put her with a new group of people, but and I know it was a first episode, and a lot of first episodes are not the best episodes out there. There was an initiating point because it was the reason why she was there. She got a new job. However, well, one of the reasons why she was there anyway. But I couldn't tell what the point was of her, besides being assistant manager at this place. she started forming some relationships with one of the main characters, and you could tell that she and her boss were going to have some issues. But other than that, I wasn't seeing where the show itself, meaning the salon itself, where it was going. So that's probably what did it for me, for because I was trying to look for the point. And I know that a lot of first episodes, like I mentioned before, just it's not always there, and neither is it always there for the first season of a show until it kind of gains footing. Which is why I kind of said that if it were on, yes, I probably would have watched it, but I would not continue watching. I wouldn't look for it, as I mentioned before.
And I think what's hard about this, I mean, and me thinking about this, is oftentimes, as I mentioned towards the beginning, the character of Sandra is usually the foil character in the sense of that Sandra Clark and Mary Jenkins are two complete opposites. But yeah, I think that their camaraderie and bitterness and all of that stuff really helps make 227 the show that it is. But by having Sandra as the main character, I'm not saying that it's not workable, but whereas 227 usually has her again as that relief as the foil, is that this pilot for Jackée doesn't really have a foil for her. You made friends for her and you made like a tiny community, but out of all the stars, only one person really has any, outside of her boss character, really has any, I guess, positive relations with her in this episode.
Yes, and that is true. And you can see they were trying. They introduced some other characters but they didn't stand out for me. And so I don't know. Like I said, it would have been interesting to see if they had decided to let this go on a little longer, how they would have developed the storyline so that she would have a storyline each week.
Yes, and I'm curious as to again how they may have need to reshape it, just because again, out of the many people listed in the main cast for the theme song, many of them didn't have any real interactions with Sandra outside of them physically being there at the spa.
Yeah, yeah, I did notice that too. There were a lot of and maybe it's my imagination, but it seemed like there were a lot of main characters or extra characters on the show.
Yes, for instance, one of them just went all around the spa looking for, I guess, new people to get money from. Another one just answered the phones. And again, I'm not saying that everyone has to have a main purpose in every given episode, but for a pilot, when that's your one and done chance to potentially get a new show, I don't feel that that's the point where you need to start bringing in all of these people. That everyone should at least have some sort of use within the episode.
Yeah, no, I agree with that totally, Brandon. I really do.
But as with as I said, and I've said, I believe in a recent discussion that we had, that for these sort of spin-offs or backdoor pilots, or well, this is actually more so just a regular pilot, but as I always say, is that I feel that there's always a crossover character, and so we did have one in this case.
We did have a crossover character.
And Mom, did you want to say who it is?
Yeah, it is Pearl from 227.
Yes, and so I personally thought that she was a great addition for being the crossover character. Do you think that she fit?
I think she did fit, and it was actually kind of refreshing to see her there. And I know because we were like kind of like you said, you're looking for Sandra to be there with Mary and with her group, and so it really was refreshing to see her there.
Yes, and I definitely do think that it was fitting for Pearl to be the person. I know that obviously, like I guess in a general sense, you'd expect it to be someone like a Mary, but I'm glad that they didn't go for the conventional choice and chose Pearl, just because I feel that made it more genuine as to who Sandra would pick in the situation.
I think so too. It really did.
But yes, but Mom, before I continue on, did you want to rate the episode?
Yes, well, I like to rate the episodes 1 through 5, 5 being the highest. I gave this a 2.27.
Well,
And
Mom,
if go ahead.
no, keep going.
No, I said y'all get it later.
Yes, Mom. Well, I will agree with you with your 2.27.
All right, he read it.
But yes, I definitely, like I said, for whatever it's worth, I don't think that this is the worst pilot yet. We've had a lot of shows that we've even enjoyed, and shows that we generally believe are good shows that just had not the best pilots, but oftentimes those ones get proven otherwise because the networks take a chance on it. In this case, the network did not take a chance on it, but at least it got to air in syndication.
Yeah, it did get to air in syndication, which is wonderful.
But yes, and so that being said, did you want to head into some connections?
Yep, tell us about the connections, Brandon.
Okay, so we have a few of them. First and foremost, we have Jackée Harry.
Yes. Oh, yes, Jackée Harry, who is from 227.
Yes, and Sister.
Yes.
So yes, we definitely enjoy seeing her, and of course, we always spoke about Helen Martin, who plays Pearl, and we've also seen her in a few different other, first episodes that we have spoken about, such as for What's Happening and some other shows as well. We've definitely seen her a little bit all over the place on TV.
Yes.
But Mom, we also have one for both the writer and director.
Okay, tell us about those, Brandon.
Yeah, so for the director, Tony Singletary, he has directed a lot of different shows that we have watched or spoken about, but particularly for an episode that we've spoken about, that was the 227 episode, the Sidewalk Sale episode 7. This was the one after the pilot. If you remember, the pilot was episode 6, so this is number 7.
Okay, got it.
But yes, and then another one is with the writer, Michael Moyer.
Okay, and what other shows did he write?
Okay, so first of all, he is one of the creators or co-creators of 227, but he did that, I believe, under a different name, under the name of C.J. Banks.
Okay.
And he also has written, I want to make sure I have this right. So the writer, Michael Moyer, he was the producer for the first episode of Silver Spoons, the executive producer for It's Your Move, and of course, the writer and executive producer for Jackée.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, so definitely quite a bit. He's done a lot over the years and has written other shows and episodes that we've not yet spoken about, but definitely, I believe, best known for helping develop Silver Spoons.
Okay. Sounds good, Brandon.
So most of the time, when a character moves on to a pilot, if it doesn't work out or a potential new series, the character does come back. But that wasn't really quite the case with 227.
All right. Remind us what happened.
So the character Sandra did come back as a few times as a special guest star, but they ended up actually replacing her character with a person or numerous people, I should say, in the final season of 227. And so probably one, like I said, one of the rare instances where the character is not fully back if the pilot doesn't work out.
Got it. Understood. I will
But
say we well say, but I will say we did miss her presence on the show.
yes, we definitely did miss her presence, but I will say I really enjoyed the episodes in which she was a special guest star for those final episodes.
Yeah, actually, so did I. I look forward to seeing those episodes when they did come on.
But yes. But Mom, is there anything else you want to say about Jackée?
No, um, like I said, it would be interesting to see where they would have gone with the show if it did last. It's unfortunate that they did stop after the first episode, in the sense of we just will never know. But Jackée Harry did a lot of things, and so this didn't stop her. She did a lot of wonderful things after the show.
Yes, definitely did.
Yes. And say, and let us know. Did you guys watch Jackée? If you did, let us know in the comments. And we thank everybody for watching today.
And we look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, bye everybody.